Take your mini from this to this using 7 paints from the Kickstarter set. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to add glow effect to your cracked Shardplate miniatures. As with any miniature, we'll start by cleaning the model. I did a black primer, and then I did a matte zenithal highlight. So I'm going to be starting out with, we'll do a colon blue, and we'll just do as many coats as we need. So we're going to water this down, and all of these paints, we need to make sure that it's a good consistency. Nice and thin coats. Don't worry about getting it onto the base. We'll cover it up later. Don't forget to get underneath here. Now we go for the second coat of colon blue. Okay, so that's the second coat. I'm gonna let it dry a little bit, and so I'm gonna work on the base here. We're going to use dark brown, and we're just going to go around, and let's be careful not to get on the foot. I may have watered this down a little bit too much. That's better than being too thick. Base coat number 1 on the base. You could use 1 or 2 more. So we're going to go with Shardblade Silver for the Shardblade. So we've got our Shardblade Silver. We're just going to do a base coat. Colon blue, base coat number 3. We'll do a second coat of Shardblade Silver. Alright, second coat of dark brown. Be careful not to get any brown on the foot here, but if you do, that's fine. We'll come back with a Windrunner blue highlight and cover that up. And here is colon blue coat number 4. We're just finishing up and covering up the last little pieces of the primer. Something to note here is that you'll see the little shiny things in my water cup. This is from the metallic paint from the Shardblade Silver. Those are literally metal flakes inside the water. So usually when I do this, I will pour this out and bring a new one in just to make sure that I don't clog up my brush too much with metallic flakes. So that's a little tip. So now what we're going to do is add the wash to kind of soak into the crevices and add that contrast. I'm going to veer off script here. We have strong tone that you can use on Adolin himself on the blue. However, I do have this blue based wash that I'm going to use instead just to give it a little bit more of a blue tint. However, you can use strong tone. It's just going to look slightly different. Then we're going to put strong tone on the blade. So this strong tone actually gives it a nice little golden highlight, which is kind of cool. Now it's time for dry brushing, and then I'm going to do some highlighting on Adolin next. So for dry brushing, we'll need a dry brush. We kind of get some paint here, and then kind of take some excess off there, and you get the model, and then you start catching the edges. You want to be especially careful around the feet, and then you can come back through and really kind of get the very edges of the rock. So for this one, we're trying to get any of the raised areas. You don't want to have too much paint on your brush. You do kind of want to catch some of these highlights here. So right now we're just trying to get Adolin to look like he just came out onto the arena floor. So for these little, I don't know what these are, you can just kind of do the tips. So there's the highlight. You can kind of see that with the base coat of colon blue, and then the wash or the strong tone, and then the highlight, it really adds some dynamic colors to the model. Even though he's just blue, there's a lot going on here that is really cool to see. Now what I want to do is go through and add some battle wear and tear. I mean, he fights chasm fiends, so he should look like he fights chasm fiends. You don't want to get too crazy with this. It's better to start small and then build up. What I do like about this is it kind of lets it feel like it's metallic without doing a lot of metallic paints on it. Because underneath this paint on a real shard bearer, it would be metallic. Something to note with these dropper bottles is that sometimes when you put the paint on the palette, you get a huge amount of paint that pops out. So if you only need a little bit of paint, what I recommend you do is kind of shake up the bottle, and then you open it up, and then I would just take stuff off of the edge here, or even dip inside of there and put it on the palette. Because sometimes if you don't need a lot, you get a lot out, and this is now just wasted paint. The idea behind the glow effect is you want to get the source of the glow should be the whitest part of the model. And so we're going to put white all over this, all over the cracks. And the idea is the white will seep into the crack, and then we will kind of build back up the Windrunner blue on the Shardplate around the crack. Have the crack be white, and then it goes out from there in the blue. Right, this looks bad, but we'll work on it. While we have the white, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little edge highlight on the sword. And you don't want to get carried away with this white highlight on the sword, because any white that you put on here is going to conflict with the glow effect of the shard plate. So I kind of think that the shard blade would glow as well, and so maybe it kind of adds to the effect. Okay, so for this one, we're going to mix some of our Windrunner blue with that white. Okay, now we don't want to get into the crack, but we do want to go around it. Again, the brightest part should be the crack itself. Okay, so it looks pretty stark, but that's okay. We're going to build on layers. So let's move on to the next part. This is where I really wish there's a little bit more detail, a little bit bigger of a model, so we could really do this crack really good. Maybe I should pick up one of the figurines, huh? So now what I want to do is blend it into the Colin blue and Windrunner blue. So let's go ahead and just take plain Windrunner blue and blend it in. So we're going out from the crack. So something here is this little crotch guard. I'm kind of highlighting it, getting a lot of highlights in there because the light would be coming out and kind of reflecting off. Maybe we can do it over here as well, just to try and give it some life, you know, like the light is coming out. Okay, so we're gonna get a mixture of light blue, just kind of come through and get some of that highlight from the source of the light. Make it a little bit more pronounced. We don't want to take this overboard, because then it takes away from where the light source is. Someone can tell me, does Adolin's faceplate glow? If so, we'll have to come back to it. I'm gonna call that okay. Like I said, I'm not a really good miniature painter. I think I'm pretty mediocre. You could say I'm a hobby newbie. Hope this tutorial was helpful for you and you kind of enjoyed seeing how to add some glow effect to your shard bearer. Throw a comment about if you would do it differently, or if you think there's some more glow effect I could do, like should the faceplate be glowing. Hopefully y'all are able to follow this tutorial. Send me pictures. I'd love to see what you come up with. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to see my next tutorial.